Hello everyone. Alright, so welcome. This is Mathematics with Teacher Abbas. So we are in simultaneous equations, and like I earlier said, today we'll be looking at method of substitution. Alright, so let's quickly jump into it. By the way, if you've not liked, subscribe and also share this content, please do well to do so. So let's see steps. Number one, let's see the steps, what and what we do when we are in substitution. We just have two basic steps to take when we are taking substitution method. So number one is you make a variable in one of the equations the subject of formula. Make a variable in one of the equations the subject of formula. So you pick any variable, but there's always an advice. So the advice there is that it's easier to work with the variable that has a coefficient of 1 or -1. I will talk more about that when we start solving problems. So you make a variable in one of the equations, any one equation 1 or equation 2. Make one of the variables the subject of formula. And then number 2, you substitute the value of the subject. You substitute the value of the subject into the other equation. So if you made a variable in equation 1 to be the subject of formula, that means you substitute that value of the formula into equation 2, and then that would just be what we are looking at basically. So it's not a big deal. It's something that's easy, something that we can easily do. Right, so let's move to examples. Use method of substitution to solve these simultaneous equations. All right, so let's see. Number one is 2x plus y equals to 7 and x minus y equal to 2. Please, I need your full attention so that we can tackle this question together. So we have 2x plus y equal to 7. I think I can name this equation 1, and then we have x minus y equal to 2, and then I think this can be named equation 2. All right, so from our steps, we say make a variable in one of the equations. So you pick an equation. So you pick an equation, and then you make one of the variables in that equation the subject of formula. Remember, we have two equations here, equation 1 and equation 2. So let's see, like I said, the advice is that it's easier to use when you are doing substitution. Is it easier to make a variable that has a coefficient of 1 or -1 to be the subject of formula. So it will be easier to use or y in equation 1, or x in equation 2, or y in equation 2. You can also use x in this equation 1, but x has a coefficient of 2, which that will lead you to fraction if you are making x the coefficient. So for now, we'll avoid that. All right, so let's see which one do we use. Okay, so let's try x here. Let's try x in equation 2. Let's try x in equation 2. So we have that from equation 2, what will happen? We have that x minus y equal to 2. That's equation 2. All right, so let's make our x the subject of formula. What do we call subject of formula? That means what we want to see here, we just want to see x equal to. So pick every other thing, variable number, pick it to the other side. So we want to see x is equal to. If we are making x the subject of formula, we want to see x is equal to that. X is a subject, is the main thing. So every other thing should be carried to the other side. So if we are doing that, that means our minus y here will cross to this side, and that will give us, this implies that x is equal to 2 plus y. X, because minus y, when it crosses, is going to give us plus y. All right, so let's see. That will now be we call this equation, this is our new equation. We call it equation 3. we call it equation 3. So that's the first step. Make one of the variables in an equation the subject of formula. So now that we've done that, what are we to do next? The next step was telling us to substitute. So we substitute the value of this subject into the other equation. So we use equation 2. So that means we are going to substitute the value of x, which x is now equal to 2 plus y. X is now equal to 2 plus y. So we are going to substitute this value of x into equation 1. Into equation 1. So let's see what we'll get. That will give us, okay, so let's write some. So we substitute x equal to 2 plus y into equation 1. Into equation 1. So what would that give us? That would give us 2. So instead of having x here, we are going to replace x with 2 plus y. So since we have two terms here, we use our bracket. 2 bracket 2 plus y. That's like saying 2x here plus y will be equal to 7. All right. So that will give us, expand this bracket, that will give us 4 plus 2 times y, 2y plus y equal to 7. All right. So let's see, what do we have? 2y plus y, that will give us 3y is equal to, what do we have? 7 minus 4. And then we'll be having that 3y equal to 3. Divide both sides by 3. Our y will be equal to 1. So we found the value of 1, or we found the value of y. So what do? We substitute y equal to 1 into, now if you substitute y equal to 1 into equation 1, into equation 2, or into equation 3, it's going to help you find the value of x. But I think it's easier since equation 3 is already carrying x equal to, that means this one will lead us directly to x. So we substitute it into equation 3. Into equation 3. So what would that give us? Equation 3 is x equal to 2 plus y. That means we are looking at x equal to 2 plus 1. And that means our x is equal to 3. So what do we have at the end of the day? We have that, therefore, x equal to 3 and y equal to 1. So these are the solutions. These are the solutions of the equations of the simultaneous equation. So what are we looking at? You can do your check. How do you check? Put the value of x and y into the two equations and see if you get this 7 and 2 that we are having. So if we put it into equation 1, that will be 2 times, let's just do a little check here. 2 times 1 plus 1, sorry, our x is 3, sorry, 2 times 3 plus 1, that will be 6 plus 1, giving us 7. If you check in equation 2, that will be x minus 1, that's 3 minus 1, that will be equal to 2. So you've seen that these values that we got are the solution of the simultaneous equations. All right, so I think I can clean the check. So you can always do a check to see if your answers, or if your answer is correct, if the solutions you get are the correct solutions. Okay, let's move to number 2. All right, solution. So we have here that 3a plus b equal to 10, and then 2a plus 4b equal to 0. This is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So like I said earlier, it's easier to make a variable that has a coefficient of 1 to be the subject. So if we check, it's only one variable that has a coefficient of 1 here, which is b, carrying plus b. Right, so we'll do what from, we'll now say from equation 1. What's equation 1? Equation 1 says 3a plus b equal to 10. So let's make b our subject of formula. This implies that b, that's plus b, equal to 10 minus plus 3a crosses, it will now turn to minus 3a. So this becomes our equation 3. So what do? We substitute b equal to 10 minus 3a into equation 2 and what would that give us? Equation 2. This is equation 2, so that will give us 2a. We have to replace b with 10 minus 3a. 2a plus 4 bracket b will be 10 minus 3a and then equal to 0. So this is the equation of, this is equation 2. We are just replacing this b with a new value. All right, so that will give us 2a plus, this will be 40 minus 12a equal to 0. So 2a minus, if you check 2a, okay, let's do it this way. 2a minus 12a equal to 0 plus 40 crosses minus 40. That will give us minus 10a equal to minus 40. So all over minus 10, all over minus 10. So our value of a equal to, so minus cancels minus, then 40 over 10, that will give us 4. A is equal to 4. So what do? We substitute a equal to 4 into, remember I said equation 3 always carries what we are looking for, into equation 3. All right, so that will give us, our equation 3 says b equal to 10 minus 3a. So that means b equal to 10 minus 3 bracket, our a is 4, and that will mean that b equal to 10 minus 12. So that means b equal to minus 2. So that means therefore our a equal to 4 and then our b equal to minus 2. All right, so you can do your check there. You can check if that's gonna work. All right, so we move to number 3. I think this should be our last. Number 3. Number 3 says 2x minus y equal to 6, and then 3x plus 2y equal to 2. If you substitute this, you have, sorry, if you are labeling this, is equation 1, and then this is equation 2. All right, so it's only one variable that has a coefficient, but this one is minus 1. It has a coefficient of minus 1. So what are we to do? All right, let me just take this down here. If you have 2x minus y equal to 6, if you are to make y the coefficient, remember that y is minus here. So what you do is to make y, because we need y equal to, we don't need minus y equal to. What we want to see is y is equal to. So what you do is you pick the minus y to the right hand side and then bring 6 to the left hand side. So that will give us 2x. If plus 6 crosses, it will give us minus 6, and that will be equal to minus y crosses, it will turn to y. So at that point, we can say y is equal to, so 2x minus 6 equal to y is the same thing as saying y equal to 2x minus 6. All right, so we can now say from equation 1, what's equation 1? Equation 1 says 2x minus y equal to 6. We have, this implies that y is equal to 2x minus 6. Remember, I've carefully explained that here. All right, so let's see, what would that give to us? We need to substitute. We'll substitute y equal to 2x minus 6 into equation what? Okay, it was 1 that we used, so into equation 2, so that will give us 3x plus 2, instead of y we'll be having 2x minus 6 equal to 2, and that will give us 3x plus 2 times 2x, that will give us 4x then plus times minus, minus 2 times 6, that will give us 12 equal to 2. All right, so we are looking at 3x plus 4x, 7x equal to 2, then plus 12. So that will be giving us 7x equal to 14, and then all over 7, all over 7. All right, so what are we having there? Let's see. And that will give us that our value of x is equal to 2. Value of x is equal to 2. So if we substitute x equal to 2 into equation, okay, I didn't label this as equation 3. This is our equation 3 into equation 3. So that will be giving us y equal to 2 brackets, our x is 2, 2 brackets 2 minus 6. So our y is equal to 2 times 2 is 4 minus 6, and then our y will be equal to minus 2. So that means therefore our x equal to 2 and our y equal to minus 2. So this is what we mean by substitution. This is what we mean by substitution. So I believe you understand with the three questions that we've solved. I believe we've talked about what you need to be able to solve the activity questions that will be given to you. All right, so let's proceed. These are the activity questions. 8 questions. Use method of substitution to solve these simultaneous equations. All right, so I'm going to just lay emphasis on number 1 and number 2. Now, in number 1 and number 2, if you can look at this, you're already given y equal to, look at equation 1 and equation 2, you're already given y equal to x plus 1. So they've already made one of the variables here a subject of formula. They've already made y equal to x plus 1. So they've given you y as a subject of formula already. And then in this case, the same thing, they've given you y also as a subject of formula. So that means you don't need to find the subject of formula again. So you only substitute what is in equation 1 into equation 2. The same thing in number 1, just substitute the value of y in equation 1 into equation 2, and that will lead you to your solving. So it's from number 3 to number 8 that you now have to make one of the variables a subject of formula. So that's all we are going to have for substitution method. So in our next class, we'll talk about elimination method, which is the second method. All right, so thank you for staying at to the end of the video. I believe this video was very impactful. Substitution is one of the core things, one of the core principles that's being used in mathematics. So, all right, thank you very much. Do well to like, subscribe, and also share to others. And I'll see you in our next class.